Hello everybody, my name is RPG and welcome back to Let's Play Shining Force 3. So in the last episode I ended it ever so slightly prematurely. There was a little bit of cutscene as we entered Balsamo that I'd completely forgotten about. All we really missed though, prior to this, is a monk walking past straight in front of the party. Dantrose doesn't seem particularly happy about it. And what we're going to do is we're going to just wander around the town, pick up a couple of items, some of which are quite useful, and talk to some of the residents and get a bit of a feel for what's going on and what the atmosphere is in the town. So this Fluff episode is going to be a fair bit shorter than the first one in Saraband, purely because there is the town itself is just a lot smaller than Saraband is. We're also going to be spending a little bit of time picking up a little bit of equipment for some of our characters. There are a couple of options that are available for us now, but on the whole, I think what I'm going to talk about for this episode really is a little bit about some of the characters and some of the mechanics that are going to be coming up, because that's going to get touched on in a moment. So, Dwarf's Hill and the Bandits. This is going to tie into one of the really nice features that each chapter has in Shining Force 3. Each chapter's got a ruin hidden on one of the maps. You can only access the ruin if you've picked up the treasure map for it. And it's a way to kind of send a little bit of your force off in more or less a race against time. Not sure why I'm expecting the bookcase there. And now I can't access this shelf because of Grandpa over here, so I'm going to just push him away a bit, hopefully be in range there. Just thought I'd loot that little bit of money, every little helps. As I was saying though, so you basically send like part of your force into the ruin, and there's usually a little bit of exclusive gear or some rare and valuable items tucked away in them. Some of the best items in the game are hidden away in the ones towards the very end. So if you're playing along through this yourself, I definitely recommend you take your time to go through and pick up each of the treasure maps that are located throughout each chapter. There's one in this town, and we won't be able to use it until Battle 5 of the chapter, but it's important that you pick it up, and after you've picked it up, you actually keep it on one of your characters. It's not enough to pick it up and then just chuck it away into the item box, because if you do that, you will not be able to access the ruin when you get to the battle. So, moving into the weapon shop now. Each character in this can equip usually 2 or 3 different types of weapons. We've got a couple of options. We've got buy, repair, which is for if you've got any weapons with active skills that you've broken, deals, and sell. Sell and buy are relatively self-explanatory. Deals, there's not going to be any at the minute, but it is where there is unique equipment, which usually tends to have skills on it. So, in terms of what we've got available, swords are what Symbios uses. He's also able to use rapiers and blades. And you can see, if I bought him this rapier, it would give him a small boost to his attack and to his agility, but I'm not really sure that I need it on him, because Dantrose can't use that actually, but I want to have a quick check of his agility. His agility is 8. I don't think I need to really buff his agility, and the critical is nice. I think I'd rather have him keep gaining XP with the sword, because his best weapon in this game is a sword anyway. I am, however, going to pick him up a knife. So the knife can only be used by Symbios here. It does reduce his attack by... oh, he's too much to carry, so... what we'll do, really quickly, we will... because I've just noticed Dantrose is still poisoned. We'll get Symbios to cure his poison. Does everyone else have free inventory slots? Oh, Masquerade doesn't, but that's fine. So, if I really quickly dart back in here... I'm going to pick up a knife because it is 50 gold. I'm not going to bother equipping it. The reason I'm picking the knife up is it's actually a thrown weapon, so he can attack from one tile away. And although he'll do less damage than if he was using his sword, it's kind of handy that he's got a ranged attack for any situation where that comes up. That's the same reason I'm going to pick up a spear for Dantrose, because he's already equipped with a bronze lance, and the spear is weaker, but it will give him a ranged attack. So, he doesn't want to equip it right away. In terms of other weapons, we've got an axe for a character with axes coming up soon that we don't have yet. We can buy the same rod that Grace and Masquerade have got. We could buy them a wand, which will give them 1 attack, but really it's not worth it. And we've also got bow, so wooden arrow, which is what Hayward is equipped with, and the light quarrel. which is a crossbow. This would give him an attack boost of 1, but I tend to train Hayward with bows because some of the bow specials are very, very good, and I don't really see much point in splashing out into crossbows for him. So I think I'm just going to pick up those 2 off weapons. This is the item shop. The only things available in the item shop at the minute are medical herbs, antidote herbs, and angel wings, which let you cast the retreat spell using another character. I'm not going to bother picking any of that up. I'm going to leave. Now, sometimes when you leave shops without buying anything, the shopkeeper will offer you like an item that's hidden away. So the item that shopkeeper offers you is a potion for 300 gold, which is the full heal item. But I don't really think I need that particularly at this minute. There's quite a few random mass monks walking around in Balsamo. They are not hostile, or don't seem to be hostile yet at the moment. All the villagers seem to be talking about them as well, about the Balsamo sect and the Balsamo monks. And tucked away in this little bit of wall here is the bright honey. What the bright honey does is it will increase a character's max MP from anywhere between 1 and 4. I'm going to use this off screen so that I can sit and save over and over and over until I get 4, and I'm going to use it on Mascarin because I want to turn her into a absolute wrecking machine. There's one more hidden item tucked away over here. It is in the back wall behind the church, and I'm going to make my way round to that in a minute. I'm thinking I'm going to check this side of the town first. The building at the minute that I'm avoiding, more or less, is the inn, because the inn I want to go in last, because that's where a lot of the plot for this town kicks off, and there'll be quite a lot of cutscenes, so I'm going to put all that in a separate episode. Something that we haven't really come across yet, because I haven't spoken to him, but there is a little bit of story going on here as well between a little guy called Toby and a Republican soldier that's rescued him. And that's the treasure map for Dwarf Hill. That is the 5th battle of the chapter, and that's where our treasure rune is going to be tucked away. And off the top of my head, I can't remember if there's anything particularly brilliant hidden away in there, but it's worth doing all of them, to be brutally honest, because some of the stuff you get is just really, really nice. And in this bit of wall is a large mithril, and that's going to be useful in about, I don't know, 20 hours from now. It's really not going to be useful for a very, very long time. But it is worth picking them up as and when you find them, so that you can experiment and make a lot of really neat stuff at the end of the game. So, I don't remember if I showed off the church in Saraband, but I'm going to use this one. I'm actually going to make a manual save, I think. And even the people in the church are talking about the Balsamo sect and the mass monks, and kind of the impact they're having in recent times. Let's go and have a quick word with the priest. Oh, I'll press revive. Save, there we go. So, I was going to discuss actually, and then got completely sidetracked by talking about Balsamo and equipment, the characters we've got so far. So the 5 characters that we've got at the minute are going to be mainstays for the party. I won't be subbing those out for anyone else as we go through. Symbios we literally cannot sub out. He is a requirement that he is in the party at all times. And he's the strongest unit in the entire scenario. And that goes for the heroes in scenarios 2 and 3 as well. They are the strongest units in their respective games. Which is why I'm dumping all of my stat up items, except for mana, into Symbios to make sure that he's an absolute powerhouse and it's more or less impossible for him to get killed in battle. Danteres I'm going to be keeping around. He is currently stronger than Symbios really on paper because he hits harder, his movement range is higher, and he's got higher defense and he's tankier. Towards the end of the game he's going to be a little bit weaker than Symbios. He's still going to be a very, very solid unit though for the entire game. In terms of Grace and Mascarin, they are going to stay as useful as they are now. Mascarin really goes from strength to strength, and she picks up a couple of different spells. And luckily the Blaze spell, which is kind of her mainstay spell, is very cheap mana-wise, so she's never going to be in a situation really where she's not able to be effective. Grace is a really solid healing unit. She never learns any damage spells, only utility, but I really kind of like that, I think, on my healers, because it removes the temptation for me to just blow all their mana on damage, and then backing myself into a corner. Hayward will definitely be staying in the party as well. I usually only keep one, maybe two ranged units at a push. There's a unit quite late in the scenario that I'm thinking I'm going to give a try that I don't normally use. And that will give me a second ranged unit. But it's just really, really useful having Hayward around to take down flyers. And if you level him up with bows, so the weapon he starts with, he actually gets a really, really useful crowd control special attack, which obviously you've got to get it to proc, and the likelihood of it proccing and then applying the status effect isn't guaranteed, but it's really, really nice. And he has a special that steals HP as well, which gives him a lot of really nice sustain. And on top of that, actually, for an archer, you'd think he would be quite weak physically, but he's actually one of the tankier characters in the scenario. Like, he can take a serious beating if you really invest in him and promote him at a reasonable level, and then stick with him till the end game. So moving into the inn now, we're getting pretty close to where I'm going to leave this episode off. The inn is pretty much full of monks. I can't remember, if I'm brutally honest, if we've already spoken to the NPC that mentions that the whole inn has been rented out by monks, so there's nowhere for us to stay. But this is our destination anyway. The High Priest want to see us. They're upstairs, so it's kind of the trigger I'm looking for here. And it really looks like everyone's being kept busy just by the sheer volume of monks we've got in the town. Oops, sorry for skipping that little bit of text there. I believe all she said was just remarking on the time. Let's touch the bar lady. So we're pretty much got nowhere else to go in town at this point. We've gone everywhere. We just need to go upstairs. And what's quite interesting here is, although we've had nothing but trouble with the monks so far, we've still got people commenting on them quite positively. So that man down there says they're no trouble at all, which is interesting based on what we've seen of them. Kind of ominous that we've been greeted up here by two monks. I'm going to completely ignore him. He says you must enter the middle room and not the others. Well, I don't really particularly feel like that. Let's have a quick tootle in here, see what's going on. Bit of moaning. Seems to be some sort of hidden room at the back. So that's the middle room with the High Priest. That looks lovely. Going to ignore that for now. Well, I mean, I can see at least one reason that I would need to go past this point, Mr. Mass Monk, and it is in here. Tucked away in here is a power wine, which is going to give a 4 attack buff to Symbios, which I'm going to be using off screen in a moment. So I'm going to leave this episode here. In the next episode, we're going to be entering that room, getting all the plot sorted in there, and dealing with the rest of the plot in Balsamo itself, ready to start Battle 4. So, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.